God made me a Zulu. I speak Zulu, I have a Zulu culture, and I'm proud. I don't apologize to you or to anyone for that. But I also live in a country called South Africa, which makes me South African.
Once a year, South African Zulus commemorate their illustrious forefather, King Shaka, a major political event in KwaZulu-Natal province. This year, the undisputed Inkatha leader, Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi, is openly heading for collision with the government of national unity, of which he himself is a prominent member. He wants to rule the province single-handed and demands no less than the restoration of an autonomous Zulu kingdom.
Ngiyabona ukuthi kwenziwani njengamanje ukuba iqaqaba kwenu ukuhlangana kwenu kanje abanye abantu kuyabachaphazelisa iswini.
Buthelezi is belligerent. He feels his demands for more federal powers are being ignored. The last-minute concession from Nelson Mandela and former President de Klerk agreeing to Inkatha's demands for international mediation, thus ensuring their participation in last year's general election, never materialized. A solution now seems even more unlikely than ever before. KwaZulu-Natal is on the verge of a civil war. Amidst campaigning for the local elections, political tolerance between the ANC and Inkatha supporters has now dropped to an all-time low. Intimidation and terror reigns in the province, despite reinforcements of the national security forces sent by Pretoria to end the violence.
We have all of us to develop a culture of tolerance, and we have to sit around the table and talk about our problems. But a question of using arms to intimidate my people. My people are not, they come from a warrior stock. They're not easily intimidated. I mean, my people faced the whole might of the British Army in 1879 with just spears. So, I mean, there's no way in which just because a black government is in charge or a black president is in charge that the Zulu people are going to change now and start, shivering and fearing because, the same security force that intimidated them yesterday are now being commanded by a black commander-in-chief.
As we are gearing up for the local government elections, there will be a lot of intimidation. Intimidation in this area means a lot of killings, There will be rallies, campaigns, and then people will be killed.
The 6 million Zulus in Natal, exclusively ruled by Buthelezi's IFP for more than 25 years, were only recently introduced to a multi-party system, with devastating consequences. Large parts of the province are now subdivided in military strongholds of ANC and Inkatha enclaves.
I work out in rural areas. Yes, I work in IFP areas, also ANC areas, but the vibes I get from IFP areas are we kill. And I've even heard people saying, in fact, I gave a lift to one guy who had come to visit us, and then when we were going to his area, he said, oh, yesterday, my boys killed somebody, just like that, I mean, this person is a professional person, a teacher.
Particularly in the rural areas, the bloody conflict between the ANC and Inkatha Freedom Party is at its worst. Already this year, more than 1,600 civilians and 76 policemen fell victim to political violence, of which 4 were killed here. This week, 4 members of the security forces got ambushed on this dirt road whilst investigating the killing of a local ANC leader. They were first disarmed by a mob of 50 men, then shot and left to die with their throats slit. A few days later, shocked colleagues paid their last respect.
Dear Lord, We look upon you and we hold on to you so that you can lead us in times like this. Yes, Lord, we know that to pay with our lives is the greatest price. Mr. and Mrs. Cummings.
To lose 4 colleagues is the worst blow I could have in my career. I've never had a blow like this. Senseless killing of apparently disarmed men. There's no justification in this world for that.
These are clearly political killings, isn't it?
I have a problem in really answering that. If a person is killed, it's murder, and murder is murder.
If you're getting police attacked in broad daylight, as these police were, I don't know if it was broad daylight, but it was certainly a fairly large group, 4 policemen with dogs, getting ambushed. You know, is that not a civil war in a sense? You know, actually, if you get the army attacked, because the army are under fire in some areas. And in fact, a senior army officer, very senior army officer, told me this. He said, we are fighting a civil war.
And in this 10 o'clock newscast, unknown gunmen have shot 11 people dead and wounded 4 others at Springvale near High Flats in southern KwaZulu-Natal. Police say the dead are all members of 2 families. They're offering a 250,000 rands reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the killers.
This remote part of KwaZulu-Natal has a history of political violence. But it's
hardly a day goes by when the South African news broadcast does not feature another massacre in KwaZulu-Natal. Since 1985, more than 10,000 people have died through political violence. This week, 2 families, including 7 children, were annihilated in Springvale, Natal Midlands, victims of political violence. During a religious gathering in one of the new huts, gunfire interrupted the ceremony. This time, the sole survivors were a mother and child.
Yilabo abafuna isibhamu kushezi. Ushezi ke kade bebuza kumkakhe izolo bethi uphi ushezi asinike isibhamu sethu. Sizofuna isibhamu besho kumkakhe. Umkakhe ke usethi angisazi isibhamu. Uphi yena uthi inkosikazi angimazi uphi. Wathe komunye mdubule. Wamdubula ke base bedubula izingane zakhe. Wasethi komunye engaphandle endlini wathi shaya zothi lapha endlini.
Every time the IFP wants to establish itself in the area, it uses what I will term a deterrent theory to say, we're here, watch out. And I'm sure now that the IFP will move into the area and start recruiting people. Then the killings will be fresh in the people's minds. Because the IFP even sacrifices its own people.
Due to the carnage, KwaZulu-Natal already harbours 500,000 refugees, like these members of a family of 11 that got killed.
Manje siyasaba mnumzane ngoba nje lapha uhlasele abantu abaningi ebusuku. Manje kwafa abantu aba-11 babashisa indlu kwashana indlu yadilekela kubona basha bonke bafa. Abanye balimele bakesibhedlela.
Kususwe intondo.
Angeke sazi ukuthi isisusa saloko ngabe yini. Nathi siyamangala ukuthi lokho isisusa ngabe yini.
Yiko nje senior.
Manje siyasaba ke nathi ngoba sizihlobo nabo laba ababulewa. Odadewethu nabafowethu no manje siyasaba ke nathi ukuthi mhlambe labantu bazobuya nathi bazosibulala.
In a hospital 100 kilometers away, we located the only female survivor of the bloodbath in Springvale. A bullet in her chest, but no longer in danger of death.
Uma sifika lapho eqala ubaba umthandazo. Sathandaza savuka lapho. Uma ubaba esabeka maqona nomthandazo ukuthi cha sizothandaza nje bekungekho lutho. Zaphuma izibhamu. Singena ngomnyango endlini around. Saphinde saqhuma. Sakazeka ke endlini waqasha khona. Mina ngiye ngaqasha ngale kwa-wardrobe. Uma sekufika umanazi bekhaya ekuseni, ngiyabalandisa ukuthi kwenzeke kanjani. Uma sebeya kade siyokhuleka khona, bonke akade bephakathi bafile. Bathungela indlu ngomlilo. Lena-ke encane ikhona ngishisa natholi ngoba angathi la esidlathini yona kudlula inhlamvu kunengxeba.
How can I stop it? I'm not in charge. Mr. Mandela used to say to Mr. de Klerk that he has the capacity to stop the violence because he's in charge of security force. He's now in charge of the security forces. He's the head of state. And it's really quite unreasonable and irrational to say that, you know, I'm the key figure that can stop it. How can I stop it?
On the ground, people are sick and tired of the fighting. You see, you have to understand that most of the fighting is not just local people fighting each other. And where that's happened, people are sick and tired of it. And of course they're ready to talk peace, but it's being stirred from outside. I mean, look, there are areas in which there are warlords who are determined to take over territory. You know, I'm not ruling that out. Sometimes they have their own private armies there, billeted to do the fighting for them.
This is how they show the appreciation of the Shaka's day. They were happy. They have to come to me and do some dance at my home, which I'm also very happy.
Are they real Zulu warriors?
Yes, these are Zulu warriors, my brother. These are Zulu warriors.
Thomas Shabalala is one of the most powerful warlords of the province. He has thousands of Zulu warriors under his command. He can bring them into action at any time, anywhere in the province.
We are not afraid of the ANC. We don't believe in violence. But if we are being forced into violence, we will defend ourselves. We believe in negotiations. We believe in democracy, true democracy. We believe in that where we differ on our opinions, we must sit down and talk.
Nevertheless, innocent men and women and children are being killed every day in this province.
Definitely, my brother. That is done purposely, that this region must look as if we, as the IFP, we cannot govern. That is the strategy of the ANC. I believe they have a hidden agenda because they have lost the elections in this region to show the world that we cannot govern.
The ANC is under heavy pressure to find an answer to the crisis. Since Buthelezi has boycotted the local elections in Natal, it requires courage to be an active member of the ANC, in direct opposition to his demands for full autonomy.
He wants to go back to that situation where they can write their own constitution, they can govern without being questioned by anybody else. But it's a dream. This province, more than any other province, is one where we are going to see that principle in the constitution which says South Africa shall establish a multi-party democracy. Even if it was a kingdom, even if it was a confederation, it won't be the confederation a la the old Mandela way. It's going to be, it will be with all the multi-party democracy. And that's what Buthelezi has not come to realize. Is that Chief Buthelezi doesn't realize at all. He wants to live in the past.
We seek no more autonomy for KwaZulu-Natal Kingdom than people have in a lander in Germany. We seek no more autonomy for the Kingdom of KwaZulu-Natal within a broader South Africa than states like California, Virginia, you named in the United States have. That is simply put.
But so you will accept, let's say, authority over military affairs, foreign affairs
of course,
of the central government?
Of course. But you must remember, in the United States, they do have, each state has got security. And in this case, the Zulu people, you saw the regiments on these both occasions. We still have those regiments. You know, those people who are marching in groups. They're actually remnants of Zulu regiments. So, I mean, it's ridiculous for anyone to think that the Zulus cannot have even a basic militia. What do you do with them? Because it's in their blood that they had that, from time immemorial.
You may have to give in to Inkatha's demands to stop the violence. Now, I think that's appalling. Because the point is that the only thing that will stop the violence as far as Inkatha is concerned is to give them virtual autonomy in this region. And if you do that, then you'll have a Bosnia. So it's not a solution to give in to more demands. It's a very, very dangerous thing to do.
I think they'll tolerate him for some time, for peace sake, because, I mean, it's a fact that if they decide to take power from him, and it will mean massacre, especially with the right-wing guys who are advising him now, who have no care whatsoever for Black lives.